Hello everyone, Ank Kleinmeulman here. Good to see you again. Our website is cwowi.eu and stands for Church Without Walls International. Our main website though is cwowi.org, and you can go there and see a lot of articles about house church if you are interested in that. But today I kind of want to continue about on the video that I shared last time, which was quite heavy when I told you about the passing of our youngest son. Today I want to give you another glimpse into our lives, because we are all people, right? And we go through stuff, and the Lord is with us. And about the timing of the Lord. First, about the timing of the Lord. It was about 6-7 months ago. Well, you have to know that we live here on the countryside. Quite a big house, big area, big garden around us, and Will having his heart issues, less energy. It's not very bad, but he just has less energy to do all the garden and all the work. So about 6-7 months ago, we felt like the cloud was moving for us to leave Wezenburg, that's where we live right now, and to live somewhere else. When I say the cloud is moving, I'm talking about something, maybe you know that expression, but the cloud moving comes from the Israelites when they were wandering in the wilderness, and it says in Numbers 9:16 that the Lord was there. The cloud was covering the tabernacle from evening until morning, and it says the cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. And when the cloud was taken up, then the people would make ready and start moving, and when the cloud was settling, they were pitching their tents. So they had to follow the cloud. So whether it was by day or night, whether the cloud was taken up, they would journey. So the cloud represents the presence of the Lord in our lives. So it is with us, and so it is with you. And maybe you know that from your own life, then that the Lord is moving you somewhere else. Maybe it's a job position, maybe it's the place where you live, maybe it's a transition from a church. It can be so many things that you feel, okay, my time to do this is up and the Lord is moving me on. And oftentimes when that happens, when you have that feeling of, I don't know what's wrong, is it me? Why am I not completely happy here? Why does it seem like that the grace to do something is lifting? It becomes harder to do a certain job or a certain ministry even, or to be at a certain place. Why do I feel so unsettled? That can be because the cloud is moving and the Lord is moving you on to something else. That is what is happening to us like 6-7 months ago. And also it's the spiritual thing, but also in the natural things started to change. What I told you about Will's condition, having less energy and so on. And then here in Wezenburg behind Will, we had a nice view over the fields. But, well, there are a lot of people who need homes here in the Netherlands. So they started to build right behind our where our kitchen is. So this happened 6-7 months ago. One day I was looking out of my kitchen window and I saw the building, the people building there. And I was thinking about how will it be if we live here and the people live there and they can just see us sitting here in the kitchen. Life will be different. How will it be? And the Lord interrupted my thoughts and he said, when they will move here, you are already gone. When they start moving here, you are already gone here. So I thought, okay, so that means that we will move before the people start living here behind us. So that gave us a time frame, but we were not quite sure when that would be. So we did some investigation, and the people said, well, the planning is for the people there to have their keys the 1st of August, and they will probably move the end of August. So that gave us a time frame, the end of August. And then that was all that the Lord said. He didn't say, look for this, look for that, go to this city or whatever. No, it's up to us to kind of make ready now. So we know the Lord is, the cloud is lifting, so we have to prepare. So we started preparing. We went to some real estate agencies, we went to the websites, everything we could do in the natural to apply for another home. And we were also thinking, what do we like? Where do we want to live? What is convenient for us? Do we still want to have like a big house, or will it be like an apartment? And we had it in our heart to have like an apartment, no stairs, close to shops, close to a train station, so it will be easy to go somewhere or to pick the train up to go to the Amsterdam airport and so on for traveling. within Europe or or to the States or whatever. So there were a lot of things, and we wanted to be closer to two of our kids who live in the center of the Netherlands, house churches who are more in the center. So we had a kind of list, something that we asked the Lord for. John 15 says, when you have that Rhema word, you stay in that word of the Lord and he will give you whatever you ask. But that's the Rhema word. When he's guiding you, leading you to do something, there is provision. And you can ask according to that Rhema word, according to the leading of the Lord. So that is what we did. And in the natural, we started looking. And it was quite a journey. I think we had viewings, maybe five, six, I'm not quite sure, apartments, and it was always no. Sometimes I thought this would be nice. I see myself living here. And then we were number 2 and not number 1. And it was emotionally in a sense. But we also knew the Lord had a place and it will be the perfect place for us and he will open the door. And then, what I shared last video, then this happened with our son, and that happened the end of June that he passed away. And the funeral was July the 11th. I had to look it up, but it's not in my mind actually. July the 11th. And then what happened, a couple of days later, I was going to the internet. I thought, okay, now I do have some time to look for another apartment. Let's see if there's something on the internet that came up. And yes, there was an apartment, nice, big apartment. It looked wonderful. So it had a link that you can apply to have a viewing to go there. So I did. And the next day I thought, oh, I remember there was also a phone number on that website. Maybe not. Why not call that person and just explain who we are and why we are looking for that apartment? So I did. It was a very nice person, and I shared my story, our story, how we were looking for an apartment and why and in which area. And then he said, okay, another person will get in touch with you. And that person did 1 or 2 days later and invited us for a viewing in Soest. I don't know if you have a map of the Netherlands, you can look it up. It's close. It's somewhere in the center of the Netherlands, in Soest. So we had a first viewing July the 18th. And from there on, the door was open and it was not a problem. We were there were 3 other persons who were invited to a viewing. But the owner, we had favor with the owner. That's what we prayed for, to have favor with the owner. And we were they said, well, he wants to give you the apartment. He wants you to be there. So that was wonderful. So August the 1st, we had got the keys. And the move will be next week, the 19th and the 20th of August. So everything happened very fast, within a month actually. But look at the timing of the Lord. We already knew that we were going to move like 7 months ago. But we didn't know why, where exactly, when exactly, where to go. So you are kind of in an unsure mode. How to say that you are not sure where to go. It reminds me, by the way, of Abraham, Genesis 12, when the Lord told him that he had to go out of his country, out of his family, and to that the Lord would show him where he would go. And then it says, and Abraham departed as the Lord had said, yes. But he went somewhere and then he went somewhere else and he was not quite sure where he had to go. And at a certain point, the Lord said, this is it. And then a famine happened. That can happen too, that you are in the right place, but a famine is happening. That is not the devil, but it's the Lord will also give you a provision there. So he did in a nutshell what he needed to do, but he was not quite sure where to go. That really also reminds me of Paul in Acts 16, when his heart was to go to places that were that the gospel was not shared. Acts 16 verse 6. It mentioned they'd gone through, the region of Galatia, and they wanted to move on, but then they were forbidden by the Holy Spirit. I don't know how the Holy Spirit forbid them, but they were forbidden to preach the word in Asia. Then they came to Mysia, and they tried to go into Bithynia. So they were looking for where's the Lord moving us? Where do we need to go? And said, but the Spirit did not permit them. So they passed Mysia, then they came down to Troas, and then a vision appeared. And then they saw a Macedonian man that said, come over to Macedonia and help us. And then they concluded that the Lord had called us to preach the gospel to them, to the people in Macedonia, and that was true. So sometimes the Lord is leading you, like the cloud is lifting, but you don't know where it is moving to. Why does the Lord do that? Why does he give us partial information so many times? Happens so many times in our lives. But it's up to us to follow as best as you can. And even if you make mistakes in the process, that you don't know where to go and what to do exactly, that is okay. The Lord knows your heart. He knows that you want to follow him, that you want to do what he wants you to do, to be where he wants you to be. Even if you make mistakes, that is okay. Why does he not give us precise information like do this, do that? Because he wants us to walk with him, because he is teaching us to trust him. And the Lord spoke many words, 2 words to me in the past when I was like kind of upset and like, will it ever happen? Will we ever move before people start living here? You know, they will start living here the end of August. And yes, indeed, we will be gone because we are moving them the 19th and the 20th. So the word of the Lord was true. Of course it is true. And of course I knew what he spoke and that it would happen. But when you don't see it in the natural happen so fast, you know, that's in your mind. You have to watch your mind and be careful what you think about. And to trust the Lord. The Lord wants us to trust him and to have faith in him, to look back to your life, how he always guided you and how he provided for you. So that is another glimpse into our lives, what happened in our lives the last couple of months, everything that happened and we had to do, and now the move and so on. And a lot of work to do still, but we trust it will be good. And we have a wonderful apartment. The Lord provided a wonderful apartment, big living room, when we can host many, many people. So we're looking forward to that, looking forward to the next step. And what about missing our son? Of course we do. But we know he's fine, he's with the Lord, and we will be there soon too. Okay, hope that is a blessing. Look back to your life, how the Lord is doing that into your life too. That is one of the ways of the Lord, giving you partial information. But you have to follow the cloud, even if you don't know where it ends up, even if you don't know where the provision will be, how the provision will be. You have to trust him that when he guides, he will provide. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.